You can hear 100% infield. Huge thing here. This is also on island. I mean, can you even see it 3D printed? Oh no, even play around. It's very nice. So we are in the lab. 40mm tube. Whoa. Be mine. All our different materials. How do you guys like it? I think we are live. Hey everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Printbusters. How is everyone doing? I just run during the intro. I just run get a bottle of water. I forgot. It was like 20 seconds left. I was like, I have time. I don't have time. I have time. Okay, let me just run to the fridge. Bad Company. How are you? Matt German, Non-Fam. Hey, Luna Burns, Eric. How are you? Sam Bender, hello. Oh, we have some people from YouTube as well. Non-Fam is from YouTube. SCN from YouTube. How are you, SCN? I haven't seen your name before. Welcome to the stream. Diving Daniel, hello from Germany. We have Germany, we have the UK. It should be pretty early in Europe, right? 3 a.m. Yeah, thank you for joining at 3 a.m. Incendium, how are you? Is out of order. Most of the people from Twitch, I see. Westery, how are you? Hesley's. Steven, Genius T2. Hesley's, how? Still very busy until Earth, right? It's not gonna stop. Hey, Reindeer, how are you? From YouTube as well. Oh, we do have a few people from YouTube. I see 3 names from YouTube. So yeah, I decided all the Printbusters will also be on YouTube so that we can we can record all our very nice discussion. Mad Monkey, DMAT, NSTO, Qdang, Buildersmark. Buildersmark didn't start by a big Nick. He started by being awesome, which actually reminds me that we need to get some awesomeness going. So let's start. There you go. And then let's be awesome. There you go. Let's be awesome a bit. A lot. Mic reset. Okay, again. So let me do that. Let me do that now. Is that better now? FDAF patch, is that better now? Okay, a lot of awesome people. Great, great, great. Zambender, Mechanical Viking, how are you? Nick Zombie has been telling about needing some Galaxy Dark Blue. You need some Galaxy Dark Blue? Okay, much better. Okay, perfect. Subsector 3D, how are you? Subsector 3D, I saw you sent me a message about, I don't remember, I didn't read properly, but I saw the message, ABS or ASA? So you're going into a ABS ASA? Because I saw you're printing in a small room, and I don't know if you figure out some ways to for the fumes and stuff. Send Westery some good stuff. Okay, what should we send to Westery? What did you say? Galaxy Dark Blue, right? Okay, let's do that. So Westery, Galaxy Dark Blue, let's go. You can use the link I sent to you, and maybe you can choose. Let's say maybe two other spools. Let's say three spools with the link. So Galaxy Dark Blue, and then you can choose some other. And by the way, guys, 1 hour left. 1 hour left for our lightning deal. Let me show you. Quick. Actually, it's 50 minutes left. If you type Silk PLA, let me see. Silk PLA. Yeah, there you go. We have a limited time deal. Let me not click here because this is advertisement. I'm going to pay myself. So let me just Polymaker Silk PLA. Let me show you. There you go. Limited time deal. So we have a lightning deal going on right now. And actually the last 12 hours, but that's the last hour. So you can go and get some silk if you want some silk. And actually we have some pretty good. I remake the whole website for the silk. I can show you. So I think actually maybe I show already, but just one more time. All the silk, each of the silk color has its own balloon animal. How awesome is that? Here's balloon animal, and then for example the gold is the monkey, I think. Here's a monkey. Then the bronze is the butterfly, I think. Yeah, there you go. And then all of them are here. Very, very beautiful. I love them. And then from Chaos Cortex, etc. So anyway, I think I showed this upgrade already. And you can go on the website, and you can on Amazon. This deal is on Amazon. Sorry. And then you can get this. So just a quick reminder. That would be great. We'll go take a look and get some Galaxy Dark Blue and look at the new color. Yeah. Go ahead, Sarah. And Subsector 3D is the same. Yeah, I take advantage of the stream so that I can get things done, because outside of the stream I'm too busy. So Subsector 3D, you send me a message for ABS and ASA. So how many spool is that? What project are we talking about? Let me check quickly. I'm working during the stream. That's how it is now. Blah blah. Okay. Okay. Oh, for Halloween and Christmas. Okay. 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 So all the colors. Okay, Christmas and Halloween. Yeah, I think it's some good idea to do some Christmas and Halloween stuff. Maybe how about we start with six different spools, 6 different colors, like orange, black, glow in the dark for Halloween, orange, black, glow in the dark. What are the other Halloween colors? What are the other Halloween colors? Let me check. We have, so if I type Halloween, and then Christmas is gold, red, and green, right? So if we go Halloween, yeah, orange, purple, glow in the dark, black. Okay, something like this. So that's 4. And then Christmas is red, green, and gold. Okay, so 7. How about we go with 7 colors? 7 spool. Subsector 3D. White goes. Yeah, white also. But I'm pretty sure she has white already. Polygon 3D, you mentioned something about Earth the other night. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Yeah, I will be at Earth. Polymaker will be there. The Three Heaven. Thank you for joining. Do you know yesterday I was working on what? I was working on adding all of your model on the website. But you have too many. Do you know what's the problem? The Three Heaven is I need to choose one model per color, but you have too many models. Every time I scroll, and then I find one, and then I say, okay, maybe there is another one. And I scroll, and so far I only found 5 model, and and I need 24 in total. So there's about 850. Yeah, so I need I just need some time. For Chelsea, it was a little bit easier because she has less animal than we have silk. So I just take random one and I have to associate with the silk. And then I ask her if she could have more balloon animal. But for you, it's the opposite. I have to scroll. So anyway, I hope the Three Heaven. I hope I will finish the website by end of next week. I hope I will have by end of next week, and then you will have, I'm not sure if you were there the last stream, then you will have the same as this. You will have all the colors, and then you will have your models here, then you will have your collection of model here, and then you will have model designed by Maker's Millwright, and then from the Three Heaven factory, or I don't remember, the Three Heaven what? I don't remember. But anyway, your logo will be here and everything. So you have, the Three Heaven, you have one of the best spot, which is our Poilite PLA, which is like the biggest, one of the biggest number of colors. So I need to do that properly. So sorry if I'm a bit late. I saw your message also. I didn't have time to get into the message, but I think it's good that I tried to do the website. I love Chelsea so much. She is a talent. Yes, her balloon animals is amazing. Sorry, I do have some difficulties to keep up with the chat tonight. A group call tonight. Group call? Well, what do you mean? On Discord? Are we going to have a small event on Discord? Any ASA deal? Not at the moment. Figri 33D. But during Black Friday, we have some pretty good deal coming, and even a little bit before Black Friday as well. Just call me. Yeah, I know the Three Heaven. I know. I need to get some time. I have to call Paisley's. I have to call you, and I have to call 2 other urgently. Let's say, at Earth they will only show brown filament. At Smurf they will only show blue. What? Oh, Smurf. I got it. Because in French is it's completely different. How you say Smurf? I had to understand that joke. Okay, Subsector 3D, cool. Yeah, Subsector, go ahead with the Christmas and Halloween color. I'm afraid we won't be able to do all the colors because we have a lot of ABS colors. Actually, I was sharing to the Three Heaven, but he couldn't see. We have too many colors, but at least you can take like around 7 colors. I think that should cover Halloween and Christmas. So that should be great. I also need to call the Three Heaven about the project I'm behind on. Ooh, Zombie is working on some project. Oh, by the way, did you guys see? Hey, Cyberpan95, thank you so much for the raid. Thank you for bringing your community in. We haven't started our topic yet, so you're arriving at the right moment. I hope you had a wonderful stream, Cyberpan. We're just welcoming people today. We have Twitch, we have YouTube going on, so we are welcoming people. I'm doing some work at the same time, answering some of the message I didn't have time to answer. So you arrive at the right moment. Thank you so much, Cyberpam, for joining our stream today. our scientific stream today. Yeah, I was about to say, did you see Zombie new setup? He has, usually he put the camera in like on his printer and stuff, but now he has a new setup where you can see him. I mean, like a streamer basically, like all the custom printer streamer. So the first time I saw it, it was pretty strange, I have to say. I don't know if you remember Zombie yesterday, but I was like, who is this? Who is this guy? I mean, that's not Zombie stream. Maybe I'm on the wrong stream. Yeah, like a streamer. Glitter ABS, yeah, Glitter ABS. Count 5 weeks from now. Around, let me think. Yeah, around 5 weeks from now, we are going to launch. We are going to launch. Do I show that or? Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. I already showed to the Awesome Squad. On my left, I have all the Galaxy ABS we are going to launch and all the Galaxy ASA we are going to launch. If you want to learn more about things that we haven't announced publicly, but we still announce that on our Discord, you should join our Discord and be part of the Awesome Squad. And then I always miss the Awesome Squad. Yeah. And then you will be able to have. Actually, you know what? This week, during the open meeting, I announced and I presented our new PLA. Yes, we are coming out with a completely new PLA, and then the Awesome Squad know what I'm talking about. And then I presented, I showed them the sticker that's going to go on the spool, the name of the new PLA we are releasing, what's behind the new PLA, etc. So again, if you are interested in knowing new products, new stuff, even like on my side here, or actually just behind me, I have all the new silks we are going to release. Oh, actually, you cannot even see them because there is the banner. But if I put like this, then you can see some of the new silk we are going to release, and that's going to be amazing. I think I showed them on stream a couple of streams ago. But yeah, NSTO, another PLA. Yeah, is that under NDA? It's an NDA between the Awesome Squad and us. The PLA which seeds in it that when planted has flower. Ashornag, how are you? How is Ashornag? Did you finish all your setup? Like the shelf, all the spools? Did you already realize that you will need way more than one shelf? If you get into 3D printing, you get more. You see, I just started. My room is filled of spools. I have spools. I have boxes here, like pile of boxes here, pile of boxes here, and then pile of boxes behind. It just go too fast. You sure did. Yeah. Okay, so I need to buy so much from you. Yeah. Oh, by the way, there is a deal going on Amazon if you want for some silk PLA. We have some silk PLA. We have a lightning deal for this. So I repeat again because there's only 40 minutes left. It will end at 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Eastern time. Filament storage is crazy. Got 103 kg laying around in my basement. Yeah, that's a lot. 103, that's a lot. That's like more than 100 spool of filament. That's a lot. I have too much empty shelf space. Custom creation, you have to fill that. You have to fill that with spools. My machines are all busted, so the filament is mocking me. Oh, no way. You need some new machine, maybe the 3 Heaven. I remember you had 3 or 4 printers, if I remember. Maybe you have to grow the family. Maybe you have to grow up the family. Okay, so today's topic will be flow calibration. So let me get on Discord. We had some discussion. Oh, actually, Zombie already put a summary for us. So to summarize, I need to finish each-step test. Oh, okay. No, sorry. For many extruder on for basic testing, the level of tension gradually affect each step. Okay. So PPT time. Let's get our PPT and let's get into the learning. Let's get into some science learning. So I think it was it this one? We have so many PPT. Where is the other PPT? Website design? No, it's not this one. Well, anyway, we can just do it again. We can just do it again. So this one was the one from last time. Let me just drink a little bit before we dive into this. What we are learning here, I'm out of here. Matt, what are you saying? Learning is the best thing. Learning is the best thing. Purple chill combo looks way too good together, so all the printer mod are getting printing in the color combo. Yeah, it's pretty good. All the dark, anyway, any dark light is the most beautiful. Like dark for the main color, light for the accent. That's that cannot go wrong. Okay, so let's get into that again. And we do have some more information coming from our Discord. I think NSCHO, FDAF Patch, and Zombie, if I remember well, are the names that I've seen that are really trying to understand a bit deeper on flow calibration. Where is the cotton candy filament? The cotton candy filament, like I said last time, I believe our pastel color in the Polyterra is pretty cotton candy. Otherwise, you see all my cute dragon here? Can you see them well? I printed them. It takes 2 hours to print one, but look how beautiful they are. Look at that. Look at these colors a little bit. Look at these colors. They're so beautiful. Look at that. Aren't they cute? Beautiful green. What? This is our light blue. This is our teal. It's just so beautiful. We have the Sislov bread that is the Sislov red that is printing. Brit red. Maybe we're gonna call it Brit red. Then we don't have issue with the Sis Lord. You see this beautiful yellow. This is what? This is what? I don't remember. Pink, I think. No. Well, whatever color this is. And then the yellow one and the red is printing. And then you know what happened yesterday? And then I didn't know. You see the line here. There is a line here, right? Do you know what happened yesterday? When I finish a meeting, I usually off the plug. And then I off the plug, but I forgot that the printer was on that plug. So I off the printer, and then it stopped, and then I was like, oh no, I have to restart the stream, blah blah blah. And actually I didn't know, but this printer has the power recovery. So like when I plug it back, and then it just tell me your print has stopped, blah blah. Would you like to resume? And then I just click yes, and then it just restarted. So I mean, there is a line that we can try to discuss why there is a line after power recovery. Okay, give me your hypothesis. Why if you have a power recovery and you're following exactly the same G code, then why would you have a line that goes really all the way? And it seems it's not even like a layer shift, right? It's really, for some reason, 2 layers that has extruded more than the other for some reason. So you can let me know your hypothesis on that. But anyway, my favorite color is, of course, the teal. We're finally gonna have a Polymaker Silk teal. And of course, the light blue is not far behind. And of course, the green, well, you know what? Like all of them, I love them. So let me put them back. Then we're gonna have around 20 seal colors. 20 seal colors. They're so beautiful. And then when the red finish, I will show you the red. The red is also beautiful. And then please take a screenshot, and then you have to show that to Sislov Brit, because I'm gonna call that red. Most likely it's gonna be called Brit red. I unfortunately I cannot use the Sis Lord, but anyway, it's printing right now, and then I will show you, and then we'll print in the orange. It should be finished in 1 hour or so. So during the stream it will finish. I explained that months ago. Oh, really, FDAF Patch? You mean why the poor recovery leave that line? Brit red, exactly. And I think there is 2T if I remember well. I don't remember. I have to check that the spelling of Brit. When it recovers, it will do the same layer over again. It knows what layer, but not where on the layer. So it does the whole layer again. Oh, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. Oh, perfect. Thank you so much, Stephen Poole. That makes so much sense. Because yeah, it doesn't know where it stopped, right? So actually, if you're lucky enough, then it was the beginning of the layer. Well, then it means I was very unlucky, right? Because my whole layer is over extruded. Yeah, or maybe it does a few layers before, like maybe 1 or 2 layers before. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, that was an easy answer to find. It also can cause micro layer shifting. Yeah, for mine it's fine. It's not a layer shift. It's really because I can see it's over extruded everywhere. It's falling microstep when the pourer goes off, the motor goes to the most close full step, and when pouring on again, the stepper starts there, so the layers get more squished. Oh, okay, yeah, that also makes sense. I can feel that when I shut down, it kind of. I mean, I have the experience that every time you shut down the power, then you just have all the z-axis that just drop. So yeah, makes sense. Thank you so much, smart people, for answering that question so quickly. Hypothesis: because the printer has poor memory. Okay, so it's crazy. Why today I cannot read everything? It's too hard to read everything today. So if I miss something, then just post it again. There's a setting that you can turn off. The redoes the last layer on resume. Oh, I didn't know that, Bila. I didn't know that. So Bila from YouTube is saying that we can basically turn off that setting where it do again the last layer after pour resume. Print a Polymaker logo to hang on the wall behind you with it. Yeah, that's a good point. I need to put a little bit more Polymaker stuff around. Well, I have my floating box. I have my spool there. I have my printer. So slowly, if you remember, like a few months ago, then it was completely empty here. Okay, so sorry. Let's get into our flow calibration. So, most important, guys, is your feedback. I need your feedback on how you calibrate your printer. So again, I won't do the whole calculation again, but for the E step, the calculation only has to be based on the diameter. So based on hardware. Okay, so based on hardware, and then you just take the diameter of your extrusion gear, blah blah. So this is what we did last time. Take the diameter of your extruder gear, and then that's it. And then you calculate, your E step, which should be I don't remember, but I think you extrude somewhere around 35 millimeter for each turn, and then there is 200 steps per turn. So so then you do what? 200 divided by 35, I think, and then if you do 200 divided by 35, you get something like what? 200 times 10 times 7, like around 6.5, let's say. So your E step is 6.5. Okay, so that's how you should do your E step. Very straightforward. Now let me know why we shouldn't do the E step like this. Why some people use filament to do the E step and they extrude, blah blah. So one of the great argument I've seen is because, and let me open the slicer, and then we're gonna verify that. some people say you shouldn't calibrate your E-step like this. You should calibrate your E-step with the filament, because when you do a retraction, okay, let me go from a little bit of background. So when you do the E-step, this is the theoretical, right? For every 6.5 step, you are going to extrude 1 millimeter of filament, theoretically. The problem is the gear might slip with the filament, depending on the filament, depending on the pressure of the system, etc. So when you retract, so when you extrude, you can compensate all the filament flow, etc., by the flow rate, by let's say the flow or extrusion multiplier. Okay, so like we said, you calibrate your E-step based on your hardware, and then whatever the interaction with the filament, you can compensate this with the flow. Okay, but if during a retraction, if you ask the printer to retract, I don't know, 3 millimeter of filament, okay, it's not gonna take, what people say is it's not gonna take the flow in consideration, which means if the E-step, you tell them to retract 3 millimeter, maybe because of the filament slippage, etc., maybe it's only going to retract, I don't know, 2 millimeter or 2.5 millimeter. Okay, so when you extrude, this is not a big deal, right? Because if you ask the printer to extrude 3 millimeter and it only extrude 2.5 because the E-step is not calibrated with the material, then it's fine, because you compensate this with the slicer flow, and then you're gonna have 3 millimeter, okay, at the end. But the problem is, for retraction, it seems that the printer is not taking into consideration the flow. It only retract, like you ask 3 millimeter, it only take in consideration the E-step. Okay, so what I want to do today is to check that. Is that true? Okay, if it's true or not, then that will define the perfect flow calibration, right? And remember what we said. E-step you do like this, and flow calibration, a very quick reminder, the only thing you have to do is like the CNC kitchen test has already explained that, and has the how to say, has the G code to do that, etc. So you do a chart that is flow, which is real flow. Okay, and then here is the requested flow. Okay, so you ask your printer to extrude at different speed, and then you record. Let me do my beautiful cross here. My beautiful cross. There you go. A bit smaller. There you go. My cross, and then you record where that be. So, for example, you request theoretically you should have something like this. Whatever you request, you should extrude, right? So you have something like this. So that's the ideal. Okay. The problem is, in most of the case, what you're going to ask is not what you're going to get. So maybe at the beginning, if you go like let's say 3 millimeter cube per second of material, that's fine. You request 3 millimeter and then you get 3 millimeter. But then maybe if you arrive at 15 millimeter cube per second, then maybe you're not gonna get 15 as the real flow. You may get a bit below. Okay, you may get something a bit below, and then etc. a bit below, and then at some point you will it cannot extrude more than what the hot end can do, and then even before it will slightly under extrude, and at the beginning it should be fine. Okay, so the ideal is the green, and the red is the non-ideal. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take, theoretically, how you calibrate, you're gonna take that line here, which is basically this line, which I will put in orange, will basically be the maximum flow of your hot end. Okay, so that's it cannot do more than that. And then what you're gonna do is here, theoretically, what you should do. The problem is that the printer cannot do that, right? but the slicer cannot do that. But theoretically, what you should do is for each of the speed, you're gonna adjust the flow so that this guy arrive here. So for example, here I extrude, let's say I extrude 10 millimeter cube per second. Okay, this is what I request. But in the ideal is 9. Okay, so what I'm gonna do for every time I print at 10 millimeter cube per second, I'm going to have a flow. I'm going to have my extrusion multiplier or the flow, whatever slicer you're using. I'm going to have that at what? At approximately 110%, right? So if we do 10, we're going to get 9. So if we do 11, well, very roughly, right? So it means you are going to ask 11 in order to get 10. Okay, so now what you ask for is what you get. Okay, so this is what I was explaining last time. However, you cannot put a flow per speed. You can put a flow per feature. And the good thing is, usually on slicer you can put a speed per feature. So my suggestion is, for every feature, then you have a speed / a flow, and then for every flow, every flow rate, then you adjust your extrusion multiplier. Or if you don't want to do all of this, you take an average. You take an average of around what flow rate you are going to extrude, and then you can adjust. You can adjust by an average. Okay, so that's for me how you should calibrate your flow. Okay, so that's a quick summary of what we talked about last time, and we just need some feedback. What do you think about this way? Should you calibrate your printer this way? Is this the best calibration? And the goal of this calibration, which is important, okay, the goal of the calibration is to make sure the printer is doing what the slicer asks. Okay, so that's basically that's the goal of the calibration. Okay, because there is another goal of calibration which we can discuss later, which is make the 3D print good looking. Okay, and that's another calibration. Okay, it's a different type of calibration. The calibration I'm talking about here is make sure the printer is doing what the slicer asks. If the slicer asks for this amount to be extruded, you have to extrude that amount. Okay, not over extrude, not under extrude. The other goal of the calibration, which is make the 3D print good looking, is different. You have to print some parts and make sure the part looks good. Whatever, if it's under extruded, over extruded, we don't care. Okay, so let's start the feedback. So let me know what you think about this calibration. Is this the perfect calibration? Is this how we should always calibrate the printer? Because I've seen a lot of different kind of calibration, but I want to find the one calibration that do this the best. FDAF patch. It's true. Retraction doesn't take into account extrusion multiplier or the flow. I just tested it. Okay, perfect. Thank you, FDAF patch. Then we don't have to test that. So there is a challenge here that we need to take into consideration, right? The challenge, or maybe I should say, maybe the warning, right? So let's put a small warning sign for us here. So we're gonna have a small warning here. That's gonna be warning, and I don't know if there is other stuff, right? That is not taking the extrusion multiplier into consideration, but retraction does not take extrusion multiplier in consideration. Okay. So that's an important information, because if it does not, then it means the printer is not going to do what the slicer asks. Okay? Okay, let me stop talking a little bit and oh, Zombie, let me know. Okay? Let's Zombie wants to come in. Let's invite Zombie. What does he want to say? Let's welcome Zombie. I like how Zombie just hey, just let me in. Let me in. Let me talk a little bit. Let me get some stuff clarified. Where are you going like this? You miss this, you miss this, you miss this. So let's see what Zombie has to do. Has to say. Okay, Zombie, I just Discord you the link. Be prepared. I'm going to be scolded by Zombie. Be prepared. Doesn't work if you have minimum layer time, as this will reduce the flow for small layer. Yeah, Little John. That's exactly. Actually, we should put a warning here. The warning here is that slicer does not optimize flow per flow rate, or I should say, does not optimize the extrusion multiplier per flow rate, because theoretically each flow rate should have its extrusion multiplier, but the slicer doesn't do that. The slicer only have one extrusion multiplier for everything, and so that's the point. So that's the second warning. That's a good point. Okay, Zombie is here. Hi, Zombie. Can you hear me? Oh, we cannot hear Zombie. Hello. We cannot hear.
Evening.
Oh, yeah.
What time it is? Hello.
Give me. Yes. Hi, Zombie.
We're gonna meet the stream.
Give me 5 minutes, just so I catch up with
I can't hear you. Hold on.
Oh, you cannot hear me? Retraction doesn't take. When we dispense epoxies with needle, there's a weight-based calibration during the setup and mass production processes. Yeah. Zombie, everything good?
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I have another Streamlabs open, so I'm gonna close out of that.
Okay. So let me do this. Oh, so today we don't have your awesome new setup. We have the old setup today.
No, I just pointed at the desk for now.
Okay. We have a great view of Zombie's desk.
All right. So can you hear me fine?
Yeah, seems good.
Okay. So we did a little bit of testing on my stream. Did you get to see any of the results?
No, sorry, I didn't have time.
Okay, well, that's good. It's good, because I don't know if you were aware of what I'm about to show you.
Let's go. Let's discover some stuff.
Yep. And the people watching my stream, thank you for bearing with me while we were doing these tests, but this is all groundbreaking, new information, so. All right.
See you, Westery. Thank you for joining. Have a good night.
So I think we have discovered, or not discovered, but clarified that there is a lot more variation in the extruder that would cause differences in E-steps or flow, flow multiplier. So what I've done is I've taken the stock Ender 3 Pro extruder, literally ripped it out of the printer because I'm not going to be using it, and I am sending commands to it via pronterface to extrude, X amount of distance.
Okay.
And then I am tensioning the extruder different amounts, and then extruding the same amount. So the same filament, different extrusion amounts. I have to find the image on the Discord. It's a bit far back now, but I'll have to find it again. And the results might shock you.
Is that this one?
Yes, that one. That's the exact one, actually.
Okay. So Okay.
To explain this a little, these are all different filaments, and ignoring the ones in the middle. So the two columns are one set extruded with maximum tension on the extruder, and then one of them extruded with minimum tension on the extruder.
Sorry,
So
the
there's
left one. There's three columns, right? I mean, two. What?
Yeah, the third column with the 2 is middle tension on the extruder. So essentially, depending on, and this is just the one extruder, but I'm sure it's similar for others. The more or less you tension your extruder, that will directly affect your E-steps. Does that make sense?
But depending on how you calibrate your E-step, right?
No,
If you take the filament in configuration or not.
no, this is all the same E-steps.
No. But you say it will affect the E-step. But what I just said today is that you don't take the filament in consideration. So the E-step is only dependent on the gear. So if you change the gear, then the E-step will be affected. If you change the filament, the E-step is not affected.
Right. So I have a lot of testing to do with this, but that's just the result that we were finding. I have to.
So that means the more, sorry, come again. The more you tension, and the less you will extrude. Is that correct?
The more you
Like,
tension,
yeah, the more tension and the
the
less
less
it
you
extrudes.
extrude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you said the right one is the one where it's tension to maximum, and the left one is the one that is loose, or is that the opposite?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
It was a long stream, so we were very confused on that. We thought the results would be a bit more straightforward. So
Okay. So let me think about it. Hey, Loyal, how are you? Loyal is joining from YouTube. That's so strange.
YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube. I can see
Interesting.
here. Nick is correct. Thank you, Loyal. I don't know which part, but thank you. Okay, so NSTO opposite. The length is the material left behind.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
So this is the result of extruding X amount of distance. So I have to do more tests on this, and I'm going to start doing them live to see if maybe changing the setup would affect something. I don't know. But
Okay, what was the extruder on that one?
this is the Ender 3 Pro. So this is the stock Creality extruder.
Okay.
Why adjust tension when it's set?
Okay, so let me put a small star here. So
Little John, you shouldn't need to adjust the tension, but the idea is that we have to test how much the flow is affected by changing the extrusion.
why adjust the tension once it's set? Is this an ender thing? Not really. I think you can have a set tension, but you may need what Zombie is saying is the tension will be part of the factor when you adjust the flow. So for me, the extrusion multiplier is only based, like I said, is only based on the gear diameter, right? And then you have one warning, which is, unfortunately, if you do that, then the retraction is not really going to follow what the slicer is doing. And then after that, all the other factors, you will have to compensate it with the flow. And then what we notice with the test that Zombie has done is that the tension is a very important factor. So if for some reason you change the tension from a print to another, then make sure that you redo your flow calibration, because you can see on the picture that I've seen here, there's a huge difference between what you extrude depending on the tension of the filament. So what we're saying here is tension is seems to be a very important factor in the flow calibration, and the same way as whether you're using Bowden, no Bowden, what temperature you're using, what hot end you're using, all of these are factors that will influence the flow.
Yeah, so I think this theory right now is that the filament gear never slips, and the motor E-steps doesn't skip. So the theory is that the distance between the center of the gear and the edge of the filament will create a different, I guess, like gear multiplier, right? So like a different actual gearing based on the amount of squish. How do we explain that?
Let me just this summarize it properly, right? The more tension, the less extrusion.
Huh, okay.
Is that correct, or it's the opposite?
More tension. More tension. Yeah, so the more tension would mean that the gear digs in deeper, which means that the gear reduction is lowered and you have less extrusion.
Would it be gear? Would it be this gear reduction, or I think I talked about it last time, or would it be the fact that it's digging in the filament, pushing the filament out?
It's the opposite, though. The more it digs in, the less it pushes it.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's gonna push both way, right? You will have 50% that go up, 50% that go down. Well, let me put some. Okay, so that's the result. The more tension, the less extrusion. So now we have to make some hypothesis on why you increase the tension and then you have less extrusion, which is interesting.
So the first test I did actually invalidates this test, which is good. I like that.
Okay, so you tried another extruder and you had a different result.
I tried the same extruder, just a different location, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Downstairs.
Flow should be calibrated for each filament. Yeah, flow, Little John. Flow should be calibrated for, and this is not exhaustive, but for each tension, each hot end, each filament, each flow rate, each temperature, each PTFE or no PTFE in your hot end, each nozzle design, each nozzle. Like you get where I'm going.
That's true. That's right? True.
So pretty much the whole printer and plus material, if you change any part of it, there is a good chance that is going to affect the flow. However, I mean, we cannot calibrate the flow for everything, right? But what we could do is some tests that would define which factors needs to be taken more in consideration. Like, for example, when I see the test from Zombie here, I mean, there is literally a factor, 2 or 3 difference between low tension and high tension. So I would consider tension as important part. I would consider tension as, if you change it, you better recalibrate your flow. But if you change, I don't know, if you change your reverse Bowden, for example, I don't know, maybe you don't have to recalibrate your flow. YouTube is the best. Twitch is loyally switching between Twitch and YouTube.
Yes, they're both good. YouTube's discoverability for streamers is very low, and that's the major disadvantage. I think YouTube's actually better. The streaming quality is better on YouTube, and I think a lot of people can agree.
Oh, really? The streaming quality is better on YouTube? I didn't know that.
I mean, it's run by Google, right?
Okay.
So just overall more capacity for streaming.
Okay.
But I think Twitch is probably on Amazon servers now, so I don't know. I don't know.
Little John, yes, change the tension or temperature and recalibrate. Change to a different filament durometer and recalibrate. Yeah. So, I mean, there is still this question of the E-step. Do you think, because, I mean, there is like hundreds of E-step video calibration on YouTube, and none of them are doing this way. But from the discussion and from kind of the logic of how I understand flow calibration, I wish this way was a bit more put forward. Do they do the filament calibration because of this warning, because they don't think it's good to have the retraction that doesn't follow the slicer, or because some other reason? Like why people use filament for calibrating their E-step?
Okay, so my theory is that I think if you calibrate for one filament, the end result, the end flow is going to be similar enough between different filaments that you might not notice in the final result, right? Because the difference when you do a test for, let's say, 100% to 90% flow for the surface layer, there's not a lot of difference. So you might not notice if it's over extruding, under extruding as much.
So you say, sorry, come again. You say they use the filament because anyway there is no much difference between different filament.
That's my theory. Like there probably is, and that's what I want to test and see if my theory is correct. I'm trying to replicate my results, essentially, to see if it was a setup issue. Yeah, this is interesting.
But
so
like,
today,
why
it's different.
The E-step calibration this way is much easier to do, right? You just have to take the diameter of your gear. Why would they make it more complicated? Like, what's the advantage of using the filament? And some are using with nozzle, some are using without nozzle, some are using retraction, some are using priming, like extruding, like one way or the other. Like, what are the advantages of all of this compared to just the diameter?
Most people, from what I've heard, don't adjust their slicer settings. They use a stock profile. So they don't run any tests. They don't do anything. They just load the filament and print. Right?
So they don't change the slicer setting, but they would change the E-step.
Yes, I guess if E-steps, because everyone says to adjust E-steps, but no one goes through like a proper, well, I mean, there probably are, there are guides for that, but the big one is if the extrusion's wrong, adjust your E-steps. That's the biggest
so I think
answer.
The main thing that I disagree with in E-step calibration is that most of the E-step calibration plus guides, like whether it's video or whether it's guide, a lot of them are doing E-step calibration the same way they're doing the flow. Like they do E-step calibration, they put the filament in with the temperature, and then they say put the filament manufacturer temperature, blah blah, and then calibrate your E-step, and then they want to change the flow. And what I disagree with is if you do through all of this with the E-step, you put the filament, you through the nozzle, etc., then there's no point of doing the flow, right?
Exactly.
That was the beginning of these Printbusters. Like,
yeah.
Because even Nero, do you remember Nero was saying, even if you do the E-step calibration this way, you still have to calibrate your flow for some reason because of expansion or something. If you remember that topic.
Yeah, it'd be good to do a lot of testing or try to find. I guess we've already tried to find people testing this stuff, but do internal testing and see with different setups and different things. So from the testing I did yesterday, and again, I want to retest all of that, which I'm doing now. I'm finding that the results are similar. I might not be extruding long enough to see a difference, but I'll have to check my settings in a second. But based off of what I did yesterday, and chat kind of sanity checked me, even if there's a little bit difference in extrusion distance, just based off of the filament type or the tensioning, then that completely negates E-steps calibration, hardware E-steps. So I think that I need to adjust I need to check this, but I'm getting actually similar result. Okay, no, that one was different. Good. I need to go longer then to amplify the results. But essentially, these are the two test pieces. This isn't crazy scientific, but of course there's a delay. Let me go to StreamYards. Or just the camera. So these are two tests, and this is the amount of filament left after focusing. This is the amount of filament left, or difference between just adjusting the tension. All other factors the same.
Okay, so the one where it left the most was the
More tension.
More tension, yeah.
More tension, more under extrusion. And that was kind of what we were finding yesterday.
Okay, let me read a little bit some of the. How much are you extruding each time?
For this test, I'm only doing 150 millimeters.
150
I should probably go further. I was doing, I think, like 250 yesterday.
CRS1, thank you for being awesome. Matt, I think each step matter to calibrate the printer to a set point. If I have multiple Ender 3 printers, I want them to have the same each-step calibration so that my profile works the same on each printer. For material calibration, I adjust flow setting. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yep.
I would agree that the each-step should only be based on the hardware, and then whatever you put on the printer should be handled by the slicer, handled by the flow. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just I did my test a little wrong, but the same concept. I just gotta have more resolution. Wasn't extreme enough.
Chris Jaden, stable, strong temperature first, E-step, flow plus speed simultaneously using CNC Kitchen vase mode flow model, then retraction, costing wipe are necessary. Chris, what are you saying? Are you saying the steps of the different step to calibrate? So you say stable, strong temperature first, then okay. So you calibrate your PID. Is that what you're saying? And then E-step, and then flow plus speed simultaneously using CNC Kitchen. Okay. Then retraction. How do you calibrate retraction? Costing wipe as necessary. Yeah, I don't think you need retraction and costing wipe, right? If you already calibrate
retraction, there's a range in which there's an optimal retraction distance where there's the least amount of stringing.
Oh, you mean okay. Sorry.
Yeah, so that's more of a stringing test for retraction.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Sebastian, how precisely is the diameter of the extruder gears known? How many slightly different manufacturers are there for these gears? The calculation thing could be done by the manufacturer of the printer if it's just calculated. Yeah, you know what, Sebastian? That's exactly what I want to do, and I've never done. I want to call, Race 3D is our neighbor, right? I want to just call them and ask them, how do you guys calibrate the E-step? And I'm 99% sure that they don't do all of this filament thing. They just put the same number for all of them, which is based on the hardware, which is based on the gear.
Yeah.
But we could ask them, maybe they don't, maybe they have done the calibration once with a filament, and maybe they just copy paste that. I don't know. So it would be interesting to know how printer manufacturers calibrate their E-step, because we talk about users, but I guess a good answer, or a good idea would be to ask what printer manufacturers are doing. But the manufacturer settings are often off. Testing with the filament is just the most practical approach. Again, I would disagree with that in a way that, it depends how you calibrate. Maybe the manufacturer settings are off because they use the hardware way, and you are using the filament way. So it's not that they are off. It's more that you guys are testing it differently. That would be it would be off if you both use the same way and you have a different result. Then yes, one of you is a bit off. But if you're using two different tests, then of course the result is going to be different. Dusty Knuckle, in general, they are looking at the easiest method for a home user, not the technical maker or commercial printer that would be more familiar with calibration technique and mathematics behind them. Yeah, well, for me, taking the diameter of the gear is way faster and way easier than doing a G-code command in order to extrude some filament and then cutting the filament or putting a mark and then trying to measure a filament that usually have stress from the spool and will never be straight. I mean, in all ways, I think taking the diameter of the gear is way easier. But maybe what you're saying is to calibrate the flow, it might be harder because you have to run, I don't know, the CNC Kitchen G-code, for example. So yeah, that's 50-50, let's say. If you want a good print, you should calibrate for every. Yeah, okay. So sorry if I didn't go all the way up in the chat, so you can just post again if I missed some of your question or hypothesis on what we're doing. Can you share the polymaker profile calibration sheet in the docs that you get from Filament when you buy PS6CF? Oh, you mean the PCP? Yeah, okay. You Gold Jungle, you can join our Discord. I shared the PCP on the Discord. You can go there and then you can ask again. I can definitely share it with you again. Maybe we can even have a comment for that. FDAF patch, that's part of what this is testing, that you can't just put the same E-step on all printer and use the same slicing profile, because spring tension, tooth sharpness, and more variable can affect the reality. So calibrating E-step on all your printer will let you the same profile for all the printers that has the same construction of filament path. Yeah, that's the same FDAF patch, right? It's either you have the same E-step for all of them and then you need to slightly change your flow, or you have the same flow for all of them and then you need to slightly change the E-step. So it's I guess it's one or the other. NSGO, can you explain how do you define the diameter of the gear? Well, for a new gear, you just take your caliper and then you just well, I don't know, you just take the diameter.
Well, the teeth are going to dig in a little bit, so I think there's a small margin or it's like the diameter of the gear minus a little bit to account for the teeth digging in, but it's almost exactly.
That's the thing I don't want to take in consideration. I don't think, like I explained last time, I don't think the gear digging in the filament has to do with anything.
Okay.
You have to take because the tip of the gear will still go at the same speed, right? So
right.
I think there is so I would just do like this. I would just take the caliper and just the only thing is I've noticed, especially on the end, I don't know if I have this issue with this one already, but I cannot see the gear for this one because it's not the Ender 3, it's the S1. But at some point you will have a groove inside, and that groove is gonna make your diameter of the gear smaller. So that's why I say for a new one, then you just take Discord link. Yeah, you can bang Discord. Oh, you're on YouTube. Why are you on YouTube?
What, YouTube? Well, on Twitch.
So Golden Jungle, let me put that. Discord.polymaker.com. Should be very straightforward. The outer diameter is not the effective diameter. What's the effective diameter? Because again, I don't believe in taking in account that digging and that's going to lower the speed because you're digging in the filament, blah, blah, blah. I don't understand the logic behind this. I understand the logic behind the teeth are going to dig in the filament, which gonna Twitch is bad. Well, Twitch is bad, but at the same time, I have 90% of the people that are from Twitch and nobody from YouTube. So, just kidding, Gold. I mean, not kidding. That's the real numbers. But so I do agree with
the YouTube chat or the Twitch chat.
Sorry?
Did you post the Discord link in the YouTube chat or the Twitch chat?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, I have to select blah blah blah. So I just put in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do agree with the fact that the gear is going to dig in the filament, which is going to deform the filament. And then if you have more tension, it's going to deform it a lot. And from Zombie's test, this deformation is going to create much less, it's going to somehow reduce the amount of filament that's going to be pushed in. So it could come from the fact that you're pushing, when the gear here is arriving and then it's starting like this, right? It's starting to dig a lot. Maybe at the beginning it's going to create some force upward, and then it's going to dig so much, and then it's going to start to extrude. So maybe that could be an explanation. But again, I only have this hypothesis because I already know the result at the end. So it's a bit biased. I'd have to think more about how to explain that the more tension, the less extrusion. But again, I don't believe in the fact that as you're digging more, you reduce what you call effective diameter. And so the calculation is different. I don't believe in that. because of the tip of the filament, because the gear is going to go the same speed anyway, and the tip of the gear is the same. If it would be the whole gear that somehow shrink, then yes, you have to redo that gear ratio calculation. But digging in the filament, I think there is some other physics that is happening, not that calculation. The effective diameter, it's called diametral pitch, and we found that the most close to what all manufacturers set to the stock E-step, it's the diametral pitch, not the outer diameter. Sorry, I don't know what's diametral pitch. Let me check. Diametral pitch. Diametral pitch is the ratio of the number of teeth to the pitch diameter. Face width is the length of the teeth in an axial plane. Oh, okay.
Cool. We're getting the same results. Good. I want to test the other filament again. So if you think about how gears work, this is probably the easiest way of explaining it. If they're meshed together really tight, there's a different gear ratio than if they're spread apart but still making contact. And I think that principle still applies to the gear driving the filament. The further away the gear is, the more or less contact is making with the filament. Right? Does that make sense? Is that the right chat? Is that right?
Okay, so what we need to explain is, for example, this one is further away, right?
Is that right?
And then this is going to have a certain speed, like the tip of the filament. And then,
well, it's not the tip. The speed, it's not defined by the tip of the filament.
the tip of the gear.
Or no, yeah, I don't know. I have to think about that for a second. Because there is a way to explain it.
The part I'm trying to understand is why, like, you see this part of the filament here should theoretically go at a certain speed, right?
So it's not. Yeah, I don't know.
And then this one will go like there will be a distribution here. So is that because of that distribution you have to take an average? So the filament will deform anyway. You see, like here.
So the filament is just being squished in. I think the actual filament is being compressed. There's no additional speed variation. Well, actually, that's something to talk about. But I don't know. The more I think about it, the more like factors come up, and the more other things make sense. So I'm trying to make sense of it. So we know that the gear ratio, the effective gear ratio, is reduced as as there's more tension and more digging in. So can someone explain why that's the case? Maybe with an example.
And actually, my gear is not really representative, right? The gears in printers are way sharper. So
yeah, it's close enough. Same concepts, right?
Yeah, but it enhanced the issue.
Yeah.
Because if you really dig like this, if you really dig into that, then you really have the tip here that is pushing much faster than the rest. So yeah, I'm not too sure what's happening after you dig into that, because definitely when you have a solid that have different amount of speed within it, then I mean, that's what the first law, I think, of Newton, right? The amount of force, but the filament is is not staying solid, right? It's deforming, and for me, the deformation is what creates this issue. Like it's doing something there. This is what Joseph was talking about in 3D Printing Nerd video, where they discussed the Excel some time ago. Oh, really? They went into that?
That'd be good.
Joseph, let's get into that. Did they explain or did they just say some stuff? 3D printing nerd, Excel, Prusa. Oh yeah.
Hey, it's Joel. What's behind me here is really cool. We're going to brand new extruder.
Yes.
20-to-1 gear ratio, cycloidal drive, right?
Cycloidal. So we really wanted to have a fully integrated extruder. You can actually
Oh, what is this extruder? I've never seen it. That's so cool.
see it here on the look.
The extruder here, I've never seen it. I didn't know.
I know. What is that?
I don't know. Cycloidal, like something extruder.
Glass display.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And so there is one central milled aluminum.
So is that the video, Little John?
That looks about right.
Oh,
But
it's abundant.
it sounds like
Okay.
he's.
Abandoned that idea. Okay.
Oh,
Which
They went to planetary. Yeah, a bit later. Okay. Let me go a bit later. If you have the
0 or 1.
Right.
But we have the full.
okay, so that's for bed. No sleep, large diameter drive gear. Okay, so maybe it's around there, I guess.
Revo compatible. We were working on it way before.
Oh, I see. Okay, so co-developed, but this is your own thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And you can swap the nozzle in 30 seconds.
Oh, so same.
In the gearbox, there's more details in the video. We don't use Bontech, but we have our own thing, and we have a giant drive gear.
I saw that. A really big
So-
one. And you have two of the bearings that you push against, right?
Yes, basically dual drive gear. The reason for it is to have more surface area touching the filament.
Yeah.
But you don't have to have two. You can have one large one. And what is nice, when you have larger diameter, for example, on the Bontech, the filament gets a little bit chewed because in the inside, it moves slower than on the outside in the groove.
Oh, I see. So this eliminates that.
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah, that's let's listen to that again.
gets a little bit chewed because in the inside, it moves slower than on the outside in the groove.
Oh, I see. So this eliminates that.
Yeah. So it is much more consistent. Sometimes that
Well, they didn't go too much into detail, but let's try to listen to that again.
on the Bontech, the filament gets a little bit chewed because in
okay.
That a really big
So-
one. And you have two of the bearings that you push against, right?
yes.
So FDIP Hatch says this happens because filament is ductile and is being displaced by the tooth into the holes between each one, making it act like a wheel that can change the diameter by a little bit. Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. So let me try to draw up something on Paint.
This happened.
I don't use
It's tactile.
the good PowerPoint software.
The tooth into the hole between each one, making it act like a wheel that can change diameter by a little bit.
Yeah, so this is the same theory as the extruder, like the lines you get, like the extruder lines. The fact that the extruder digs into the filament a little changes the speed, and that speed is reflected in changes in different amounts of extrusion. So you can see that on the actual print. So if you have too much tension, the filament or the teeth dig into the filament and then change it as it's going. But I'm not 100% sure on the the mechanics of that. Like, I don't know why.
Yeah, I still didn't get it so much. Why digging in the filament is going to lower the speed or extrude less. The only thing I can see is that when the gear is about to dig, then from that point to that point is actually pushing filament out of the way up, or something like this. I don't know. I'm not happy tonight. I have a clog. I have a clogged in my tube. I have a clogged nozzle. It is what I said for a couple of minutes. What did you say?
Dual drive gear.
Sorry, let me just listen to that one more time because I still didn't understand what he said.
Of the bearings that you push against, right?
Yes. Basically, dual drive gear. The reason for it is to have more surface area touching the filament.
Yeah.
But you don't have to have two. You can have one large one. And what is nice, when you have larger diameter, for example, on the Bontech, the filament gets a little bit chewed because in the inside, it moves slower than on the outside in the groove.
Oh, I see. So this eliminates that.
Yeah. So
Okay, so I don't think he explained it, but I have something in my mind which I think is what he meant. So he's talking about larger gear solving that problem. And here's my hypothesis. When you have, actually, I should have this one. When you have a small gear, let me put that out of the way. So let's say this is small gear. Here's a thing, very logical. It's very logical in my mind. Let me share with you. So when you have a small gear, the angle of attack, if we can call it like this, is going to be very sharp. And there's going to be a large difference between the tip of the gear and the bottom of the gear. Okay? But if you have, and that, I still don't know why, but that creates some problem. The fact that you completely deform the filament. But if you have a large gear, the amount of attack is much less.
Right, it's able to get more grip on the filament by making more surface area contact with it versus a smaller area but needing more grip. So that's why this is why I think large gear extruders are the way to go. They're definitely seem optimal. This kind of explains that. So you should hypothetically get less artifacts on your prints via large gear extruders.
Well, it's let me think. So the angle of attack is going to be more like this. Yeah. So it's gonna deform less. I mean, it's gonna more evenly push the filament with a large gear, because it's going to arrive like something like this.
Well, we know that already. Like that's already a fact. What we're trying to figure out is
we know the result, but I don't think we know the explanation. We don't know why large gear are better than small gear.
Because the teeth dig in less.
Yeah, but then we don't know why digging less is better.
Right. So that's the main question is still why does the flow vary by the teeth digging in more?
I don't think it's about digging less. I don't think the large gear is better because it dig less. Because that's not what I'm saying, right? What I'm saying is the angle of attack is different. So you have less of a difference between the tip of the gear and the middle of the gear compared to the angle of attack of a large gear. So yeah, it's a bit hard. Just bought a roll of Silk Silver and Silk Magenta on Amazon before Lightning sale ended. Excited to try them. Yeah, great, Jared. Great that you were able to take advantage of the deal. Relative.
Make sure to post if you have any data or any videos on this stuff, especially if there's a time-stamped video on YouTube. Go ahead and link that in chat, Twitch chat has links enabled.
Because that's what he's saying. What he's saying on the video is that larger gear. Well, let's listen to that again. But yeah, we have to listen because he's going very quick and not giving.
We have our own thing, and
Two of the bearings that you push against, right?
yes, basically dual drive gear. The reason for it is to have more surface area touching the filament.
Yeah.
But you don't have to have two. You can have one large one. And what is nice, when you have larger diameter, for example, on the Buntech.
So now he's going to explain why it's better to have a larger diameter.
The filament gets a little bit chewed because in the inside, it moves slower than on the outside.
Okay, so inside it moves slower than the outside. Okay, so that's what we explain here, right? The inside here, the filament is being pushed slower than the outside here.
The groove.
Oh, I see.
But the problem is, I don't know how Joel understood just with these.
I don't.
A little bit chewed because in the inside, it moves slower than on the outside in the groove.
Oh, I see. So this eliminates that.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I don't know. Eliminate. I don't understand. But anyway, so I guess that's what Little John was referring to. Bigger gears mean less speed difference between tips on the tip of the tip and bottom of it. It also more tooth and contact at the same time, so digging it less like a bed of F the fash. This one I agree. I mean, I agree with the first one, and I agree with the second one. And what I'm saying is that it's better just because of the first one, because digging less, I don't know whether. Well, oh yeah. Digging less means less speed difference also. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, F patch. I 100% agree with that. Ask Joel at Earth. Yeah, I mean Joel is more on the general presentation for general public of printers. I'm not sure he's particularly interested in that amount of detail.
Joel's not the person to ask for this. One of the manufacturers of printers, or like a hardware person, or someone who does a lot of testing, but not just someone who's done a lot of testing, because they would have had to test this particular thing. So honestly, like, go ask Bondtech if they're going to be there. Go ask like an actual manufacturer of extruders.
Material, the volume have changed to less material. With great drive come great extrusion. Some finite element analysis looking at filament deformation might be useful. Yeah, that would be awesome, Little John. That would be awesome if we could have this. That would explain everything so much easier. I don't know if any of you have access to this type of software and know how to set that up, but that would. Oh, I think I actually know someone. That would be awesome if we can do that. That would be a great white paper right there.
Here's the actual question, and this is now that I'm looking at this a little more, I'm starting to see. So I'm guessing that the speed of the filament is dependent on. We'll go back to that. Go back to the image.
Oh, sorry. I need to restart my print at the same time.
What was that? Okay, yeah, you have it back up. So I'm thinking that the edge of the filament versus the speed or the contact of the gear, that's what defines the print speed. So as the filament gear digs more and more in, it becomes slower. Like the extrusion becomes slower.
Yeah, because
does that make sense?
Yeah, because it will start to have the internal stress of having the tip of the gear very far, pushing the filament fast, and the more you dig in, the more you will have part of the material that will be pushed slower, and it will start to create some stress, lowering the overall speed. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You take the average. So, come again?
I don't think it has anything to do with stress. So I think it's due to the distance between the center of the drive gear versus the the outer portion of the filament.
But there has to be some stress, right? Because otherwise,
Well, yeah, okay, yes, there's stress, but how does that? What causes what? Oh man.
so basically it's like this: you have the filament here, and then if you only have the tip of the filament that digs in, then you only have a small amount of set speed, right? So you do an average between two fast speed, right? So I
Sine
don't
wave.
know. Yeah, I don't know how exactly the filament will react to this, but maybe we can just take an average of this speed, and that would give the average speed of the filament. And then the more you dig in, and the more you have slower and slower and slower speed, like the effective diameter that they were saying. Now the idea is, do we take just an average, and then the filament will just kind of deform? Like here, it will be compressed, and here it will crack, basically. So create some grooves or something.
Okay, so when is the filament moving the fastest? Is it when the tip of the gear is engaged, or is it when it's dug in quite a bit?
Just when the tip of the filament. If you only have the tip of the gear that digged in, then that will go very fast, because it will only take the fast part of the gear. But when it digs too much, then you have the fast part plus the slow part, and maybe there is some kind of average or something. FDAF patch, yeah, Nick, right. The speed of the filament is the average of all the contact areas.
So you're saying that the more the gear digs in, the slower the filament is going to travel.
Yeah, the average will go slower and slower as it digs in. Yeah, that would be my hypothesis.
Okay. So what if that immediately corresponds to the testing that I'm doing? The more extruder tension, the less filament you get out because it digs in more.
Yeah, that could be
that
could be a
100%
hypothesis.
adds up.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the effective gear ratio is changing.
Yeah. I think I understand now. Oh, sorry. I understand now the. I mean, the chat was way ahead of me on that, but I think I start to get some understanding.
Kevin, that's exactly the test I'm doing right now. I'm literally doing that test as we speak.
So now the question is, if you use. Oh, so here's why I think stress is important. Is because TPU, for example, might not handle this speed difference as well as a rigid filament would handle.
I'm testing that as we speak.
Oh, okay. Because my thinking is that the rigid filament is going to, you can take an average because it's very intrinsically condensed, or how to say that, like rigid basically. But I'm thinking the TPU, let me see. Well, the TPU is a different story, because the TPU, I think the story is that the gear cannot dig in. So if it cannot dig in, it will slip, and then the less. So there you go. My hypothesis is the following. If Zombie you're testing, my hypothesis is the following: for TPU filament, if you don't use a very sharp gear, like let's say just a regular gear, which means it's not really going to dig into the filament. And actually, if you take a rigid filament outside after it passed the gear, then you can see some small groove. But if you take TPU, usually you cannot see grooves in it because it didn't dig. So my hypothesis, if it doesn't dig, my hypothesis is that the speed is going to correlate with the friction between the gear and the filament. The more friction, the more you can extrude, and the less friction and the more slippage. So my hypothesis is that if you don't tension a lot, the friction will be lower, so you will extrude less because a tiny bit of more slippage. Then if you increase the tension, again with the hypothesis that it doesn't dig in, it should the friction will be higher, so it should extrude more. So that's my hypothesis. Let's see the result.
So for more tension, is it going to extrude more or less?
More. My hypothesis is more.
Tension, more. Nope. So
wait, sorry, I have a glitch on my printer. It just completely stopped, and
yeah, it does that sometimes.
I cannot read anything on my SD card for some reason.
Autofocus off. Okay, so this is the difference between a 250 millimeter extrusion on TPU.
Where are you doing this?
I'm trying to share it on my screen, but it's TPU is a little bendy, so there we go. All right. That's the focusing point. That is the difference.
More difference than the rigid filament, right?
Yes. So it's the same correlation. More tension equals less filament.
Do you have any groove? Like, what's the groove comparison between the rigid extruded and the TPU extruded?
Let me try to see. Move this beautiful poly smooth butterfly by Chelsea. Look at that. Look at that. It's like, it looks like literally a balloon.
Yeah,
crazy.
it's beautiful.
I love that stuff. Okay, so here, if you can see, I can try to zoom in a bit more too. It's going to be a little blurry, but whatever. So this is the TPU. The longer piece is more tension, and then the shorter piece is less tension. And then here is Polyterra with the same test, same tensions. The longer piece is more tension, and the shorter piece is less tension. Oops. You can't see that, can you?
We barely can see.
Yeah. It's not that much, but it's noticeable.
How about the groove on the filament? Is there a noticeable difference?
So wow.
FDAF patch. The hypothesis is that TPU is already soft, so the gear dig even more on the filament.
Yeah,
but this time it's elastic deformation.
Exactly. So it still has the same principle of the more that the gear, essentially, the closer the middle of the drive gear to the outer diameter of the filament, the less extrusion, because that is the ratio that you're looking for. That's kind of my my scenario. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't.
Well, what I'm thinking is, because there is one experience I have, is that when I print with TPU, like not just extrude filament, but when I print, the more tension, the better the result. Like the more if I have under extrusion issue, I can solve that by increasing the extruded tension. So that's the part that is strange. I don't know.
That's the opposite.
Yeah, that would be the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone that has the same experience with TPU or with Polyterra? By the way, Polyterra is the same.
Yeah, so Polyterra was an interesting one, because the more tension you have, the more under extrusion it has. So I have a couple of theories on Polyterra. So if you look at my screen, the pink is PLA Pro.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar, and this is because it's a very hard filament, and it doesn't dig in as much. But Polyterra is softer, right? It's a softer filament, even though it's more dense. I was trying to message you this whole time so we can figure out which filament property is hardness, like how much, like the extruder gear would dig in, like how hard the filament is. So my theory is that even though Polyterra extrudes less for the same E-steps, it's a higher flow filament, so it melts easier, so it has less restriction by the hot end. So it over extrudes. Does that make sense?
You know what you could do is to do the same test but with the hot end and see if you have similar result. Because I mean that's a huge extrusion difference, right? That's very strange. I mean I haven't seen anyone experiencing such a big difference just by changing the tension. So there might be something happening once you add the 3D printer system into that that extruder system.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely something I want to test. But I
Because
wanted
maybe
to.
here's a hypothesis that I have.
Okay.
The all what we explained works well if there is no back pressure on the filament. If there is back pressure, there is something else that comes into account, is that the less tension, the less surface area to push, and the harder it is to resist that back pressure. But the more digging, the more you can resist that back pressure. So actually, in that case, with back pressure, it's better to dig in. Otherwise, it will slip because you don't have enough area. So maybe once you add that back pressure, then it's actually the opposite. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good concept. That makes.
So maybe we could try that. Maybe we could see if with the back pressure, then whether the results are the same or they reverse. Numeric, it's mathematical. I'm using geodry. Don't deform the filament. Yes, back pressure pushes back. Yeah, I'm wondering whether the back pressure is going to change the equation, because then it's going to be the less you dig, the less you dig.
To push.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
I don't.
it's like you have for example, you have that remote, right? And then if I don't dig too much, then it means I'm not pressing my hand so much, and then if I push, then it will slip very easily. Okay, so that's the back pressure. So it's hard for me to push. But if I dig a lot, then all the back pressure, it's very easy for me to resist. So in terms of the 3D printing, then if the gear dig a lot in the filament and have a lot of surface, then they will be able to transfer all the energy without any slippage, without any major issue. But if you have only the tip of the filament, the tip of the gear that digs into the filament, then the pressure is too much, so it will slip.
Okay, so can you define slippage?
So slippage is defined by the tip of the gear moving faster, or like, let's say, I don't know how to say that scientifically, but like the gear is moving faster than the filament. But I don't know how to say that, because some part of the gear are moving faster, but like the average, what we define as how do you call that already? The effective speed is moving faster than the filament. Then it's considered as slippage. So, NSGO, please read my message. Yeah, sorry. NSGO, the drop effect video said dual drive gear will make the difference less. Okay, but I'm using dual drive gear.
Yeah, so that's why I need to test this with a bunch of different setups so we can try to figure out what's going on. The more variables that we can isolate, the better we can come to a conclusion on this. And unfortunately, there's no conclusion today. Sorry.
That's the third stream that I'm saying we have the last word on the
See, you can't say that because there's always going to be more, right?
But actually, I mean, this is not really part of the flow calibration, in a way that this is just to explain why you should calibrate your flow depending on many different factors. And that's what we're talking about, which factor influence the flow. But the flow calibration itself, the discussion could be closed, whether or not I'm not sharing the PPT anymore, but
I mean, just because with the same extruder tension, we're getting this much variation in filament length / extrusion, then I 100% am full software calibration. E-steps does not matter at all. 100%.
And for me, why I like this idea of hardware for E-step and software for flow is because there's so many things that can affect the flow that I would give all of this to the software and only keep a few of them for E-step. And I would only keep the gear geometry, the gear diameter, the gear size.
NH2 did test with a hot end. What did you find? I'm sorry, I saw that you did like a couple of tests. but I don't remember the conclusion. So what conclusion did you have?
Where did the NSO post
Yeah.
it? All of this?
I can't remember if it was in my. I guess my channel is now the.
Yeah, I
flow
saw that. I
calibration.
saw. I was thinking why this discussion went to.
I guess all of my viewers are very scientific. So we do all the science talks on my channel. Last
Okay,
chart.
so real path width, hot end, error percentage, looseness of tension screw. Okay, so I guess that's the graph that NHO wanted to show. So on the left is a very loose tension, and on the right is a very I guess very tension, right? Looseness, or the opposite. Left is tighter. Oh, okay. So the tighter, yeah, I mean there is no particular trend, but it seems that for PLA is pretty constant, and it seems that for ABS, the less tension and the more you extrude.
So right is looser. So you're saying that in real life, so you have error on the side. What does error mean? Is that % under extrusion?
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess so. Yeah.
Minus means it's extruding less than it should.
So the lower it does in the graph, the more under extrusion.
Yeah, and that makes sense because once it's completely loose, then it's not pushing any more filament, so it's completely under extruding.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So from this, how does this correspond to our test or like my testing?
Well, ABS is similar. ABS is similar to your test. The less tension, the more it extrudes. I mean, it's less obvious. I mean, we're talking about less than 1% error.
Yeah.
It's much less obvious. But for PLA, it's kind of constant, I would say. Yeah, it's hard to make some trend out of this NSG.
I know, that's why I want to do a lot more testing, because it's gonna need a lot more testing.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we should extrude more in order to amplify if there is any trend. Yes, the last one
that's
is
what I'm doing. I'm doing 250, so that's a clear enough trend.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just because I have to go in maybe 20 minutes.
Okay. Yep.
So let's at least confirm, because there is a lot more discussion that we can continue on what factors influence flow and in which way it influences and why does it influence. I think there's a lot of great topics on that.
And I actually have a conclusion to this whole testing too at the end.
Okay. My PLA is hard and stiff one, so it's not affected by tension so much. That's my hypothesis.
What material property affects, like, the squish factor, like how much the gear is able to push in? So like PLA Pro is harder.
Hardness, I think the hardness is the one. It seems to be the one that the property.
That's not something you guys test though, right?
We do have where we have the shore harness for DPUs, and then we also have shore harness for our rigid material.
Oh, you do? It's not on the website.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I should add this as well.
If it's on, because I was trying to look for that. The shore hardness or.
Yeah. It's the same. You indent with a small needle, and then depending on the pressure it requires, it will give the shore harness. Melt index, I'm not too sure. Maybe not. I would be more towards shore harness, like how hard the filament is. How does it resist to the gear digging in? There might be something related to Young's modulus as well, because depending on the elastic deformation it can take, or elastic deformation. So I think Young's modulus and shore hardness should be the two one that will define how it will behave. You press with a pyramidal VQ internal. Yeah. I mean, just the regular shore harness test.
They said Young's modulus. Okay, so let me pull that up for the materials I'm testing. So I have Polyterra, I have PLA Pro.
Like PLA will have the highest Young's modulus, and Polytera will have the lowest out of the PLA.
I have an ABS. Is this ABS or ASA?
ABS would also be a bit lower.
ASA.
Yeah.
And then TPU 95.
So Young's modulus being the amount of deformation compared to the amount of stress. So the lower the Young's modulus, the more they will deform under a small amount of stress, which can be you see the gear is the stress and the deformation is the groove that is digging in.
That sort of corresponds. So in this test I just did, not extremely scientific, only one test, but the ABS. Okay, yeah, no, that does add up. The ABS is slightly harder than the Polytera. And then the PLA Pro is much harder. Well, considerably harder. And that sort of corresponds to the graph you have on the website. So
yeah, can we say generally PLA is harder than ABS? Yes, and it's true. PLA has a higher show hardness than ABS. Also, Polytera is softer than normal PLA. Yes, that's true. Young's modulus is elasticity under compression. Yeah. Young's modulus is literally strain divided by stress, or stress divided by strain.
Yep,
in
that's
megapascal.
So from that graph, what could I test to see where it falls?
Well, I think some stuff we need to test is that experience from a lot of people is that under extrusion can be solved with tension, but
PTG is low.
But it's strange, and maybe that's a great Printbusters. Actually, that's a great Printbusters in a way that if we can prove that you cannot actually solve under extrusion with more tension, that actually going to make it worse.
Yeah,
that would be an awesome Printbusters, I think.
That's kind of the kind of like direction I'm going in. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab some PETG.
Okay, sure. So Young's modulus was what I was thinking when I said melt index. Yeah, I think this has been a great show. Yeah, it was awesome. Unfortunately, we'll have to stop in 10 minutes because we actually have a team activity for the weekend for Polymaker, and then we're going to talk about our vision, our mission. We are going to review the mission of Polymaker, what we are trying to do, what are we trying to achieve. So all the managers are going there, like kind of a retreat or something. So it's going to be quite nice, and it starts this afternoon. So that's why I need to drive there. Okay, FDAF patch. Last word. My last word for flow calibration topic is: if you only have one printer and printing only PLA, then you can stay into only calibrating extrusion multiplier, and it's good enough. But if you have many printers, print many materials, or want to dig more into the calibration, then adjusting your E-step to a close accuracy for all your printer, and then just compensating with extrusion multiplier for the difference from tension, gear to filament hardness is the way to go. Yeah, I agree, FDAF patch. Now the idea is, how do you calibrate your E-step? I think that's the discussion. Like, do we agree that the ideal is to calibrate the E-step this way and the flow this way? So that's the conclusion I'm trying to have. If the extruder slips, of course, under extrusion can be solved with tension. If it does not slip, it can't be. Yeah, Sebastian, yes, I agree. I love the dual host show. Yeah, I also like it. Sounds fantastic. Yeah, Paisley's. Paisley's. I'm thinking when can we get on the call? We really need to do that before Earth, right? To prepare the stuff. Maybe this weekend. Paisley's is never sleeping, which makes things easy for me with the time difference. No, I'm joking, Paisley's. I will call in a good time from Canada. How much awesomeness comes in a roll? Ooh, a lot. I calculated it around 3 to 4,000 awesomeness. And it's true. The weird thing is generally people use lower extrusion multiplier on Polytera and ABS to get good result. But that is the opposite to our experiment because these softer materials should be extruded less under the same setting. Yeah, and it's true. I agree. And that's going to be the awesome thing, right? The awesome thing is when you try to correlate theory and experiment, because that's what I like with Printbusters, because in most of the discussion in 3D printing is all about experiment and not that much about theory. What I like about Printbusters is we really try to correlate theory and experiment, which is very hard. It's very, very hard, but that's the nice part of it. FDAF patch, calibrate each step, spin your extruder gear until there is no binding. Use a piece of your most used filament and calibrate each step with the distance method. Okay, so that means we disagree on how to calibrate each step, right?
So that's a great segue into my conclusion. So from the basic tests that I've done, from all the printers that I've had, I've always had one thing in common. I always calibrate my E-steps with the same roll of filament. So I always use PLA Pro for all my printers. So I believe
is what's the advantage? Like, what's the point of doing this?
Yep. So what I'm doing, or what I believe I'm doing, is if I calibrate my Ender 3 with PLA Pro, maybe I have to change the E-steps, 20%. And then if I calibrate my, simple core with a large gear extruder, and maybe that one only needs 5%. Now I know that if I request 100 millimeters of filament on either system, that it's going to give me the same result. So then I can use the same profile in my slicer. And then hopefully the differences between the variation between the filaments are the same, between the different extruders, or close enough to that I can just use the same extrusion multiplier in the slicer for all of my printers.
But you have to calibrate your extrusion multiplier anyway, right? Because all your printer, I guess, have different hot end, and maybe you print at different.
That's the question. Does that matter? That's the question, right? Is this variation going to directly correspond into differences when you attach a hot end? So we're going to need more testing, but my current conclusion is to get with a hot end, obviously doing it as you would typically, you set your hot end to its typical operating temperature for that filament. So you do the same temperature for every printer and use the same filament for every printer, and you extrude the same amount and do the same exact test on every printer, and then take that and use that for your E-steps. Now, the E-steps value in general, it does not matter, because you're just going to you're going to account for that in the slicer.
Okay, so does that mean you don't, after you do that to calibrate your E-step with PLA Pro, so you don't calibrate your flow after that on your different printers? You just
on the different printers? No. So I would take my one printer, let's say I have 10 with all different hot ends and extruders. My theory is that you can adjust the E-steps once on one printer and take that printer and then calibrate the flow with like a swatch truck, and then save that value and use that for all additional printers that you only need to adjust the E-steps on. I'm guessing that it'll be similar.
So you calibrate the E-step on a printer using PLA Pro, and then you calibrate your flow. So why do you calibrate the flow after calibrating your E-step?
Because there's different variations in filament. There's different extrusion based off of different filaments. And that's a good point. I think I have to retest this. So much stuff to test, right? In Cura, Cura has given me the I think it's this one. Cura has given me the most consistent results in actual versus requested flow. So if I calibrate my E-steps with a filament and then go into Cura and test a model, the flow is like almost correct for that filament. But I haven't used Cura a lot. In Super Slicer, they purposefully over extrude by the way that they calculate. We figured that out last time. So they purposefully over extrude. So most extrusion multipliers are 92% and whatever. So that's not saying that 92% of the film is coming out or whatever, but and this is by visual inspection, because a thin wall test is not accurate enough. That's been proven. There's too much variation between the layers, and in the same sense, an overall like 100 millimeter cube test or any cube tests, there's too much variation, layer shifts, like minor layer shifts, for it to be valid.
The most accurate is, if the goal of the calibration is the first one, make sure the printer is doing what the slicer asks. I think the best is just the weight, no?
Yep, I think so too. Yeah. Like the actual amount of filament, but the different slicers handle flow differently. So I don't know. Oh, that's right. Okay, so when I was doing some tests, I think that Super Slicer does work properly. So if you request a 0.4 millimeter wall, you'll get a 0.4 millimeter wall, because I did that massive. I set it to do a 1.2 millimeter base mode wall, but it only gave me 1.1 millimeters, and I was a little confused. But then I realized the extrusion multiplier was at 92%. So I think, doing a little bit of math, I think that the slicer is probably right. But the reason why we think it over extrudes is because their lines are too squished together or something like that.
And I guess, and that's also, I also like the calibration via visual inspection. I'm just thinking this is more for a different goal of calibration, just making sure your part looks good. And so depending on what you use your printer for, and most of them you use it to create parts that looks good. So it could make sense to also highlight that there is different goal for calibration. You don't have to make sure that your printer is doing what the slicer says. You just have to make sure that what's coming out of the printer looks good. And for that purpose, then the calibration process is different.
Yep. So that's kind of why I have the swatch truck, because it does both. It's a visual inspection to some degree, and it's also a like an accuracy test, like a line width test.
Okay. Sorry, Zombie. I'll have to stop here, but let's continue that discussion. I think that discussion can switch a little bit or shift to what are the factors that affect flows and how and why. And I think part of it, we can get some information from Olivier as well, Mirror C. We're gonna get some nice information from him, and then he's gonna also do some additional testing outside of only testing, the maximum flow, etc. So we'll be able to have some very, very accurate information from his testing.
Does anyone want me to continue this conversation? This ended a bit sooner than I was expecting, so I can go on and stream for a bit if people are interested.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm gonna. Are you already there, or?
Well, I have to log in. I'll go ahead and start streaming for a bit, and I'll work on my printer and then talk about this.
Okay, so you can go ahead and start your live, and then I will send the people over there.
Well, nice chatting with you. I think that was a pretty productive conversation, and I'm looking forward for some more testing on this.
Yes, definitely, and thank you again for doing all the live testing. I think it's really great to mix. I feel like our dual stream works very well because I'm more on the theory side and you are more on the experimental side.
Yep.
And I think that's a perfect duo for discussion.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you, Zombie. See you next time. See you.
See ya.
Bye. Great. Sorry, I haven't read some of the later messages. I have to run to the hotel. For the team retreat, but it was amazing. I hope you guys liked that dual stream. And again, I believe it's working well because of the different way of approaching different phenomenon, more the experimental way and more the theoretical way. And I think that just makes things awesome. Okay, time to draw our today winner. And then I will wait that Zombie goes live so that I can send you over there to continue this awesome discussion. When is my? There you go. 74 entry. Whoa, 74. That's I think one of our highest number of awesome people. That's great. More and more awesome people. Great combination, great discussion, very awesome, great. I'm very happy you all like it. But the 3 slicer under discussion behave differently. Yeah, there's a lot to do on slicers as well. Thank you so much, Peslis. I think it's going to be an amazing retreat. So it's going to be awesome. 77, great. Someone just enter. I guess ready. Only 47 in chat as far as I can see. Yeah, we have some people on YouTube as well. I have 60 people here, so that means there is a mix between YouTube and Twitch. Okay, I guess ready. We're going to draw in 5, 3, 4, 2, 1. Drawing. The winner today is that going to be Matt German again? Sebastian, got a shipping notice from Polymaker. Not sure if it's the win from LM here. It's both are one person. I'm not sure. Matt 3DPS. I'm not sure if he's still there. Do you know who is Matt? Matt doesn't need spool. Matt is our official Australia distributor. He has a warehouse of Polymaker spool. So we're gonna draw again, and most likely he's on the same time zone. I mean, similar time zone as me, so he's most likely working already. So let's draw again. What? I'm drawing our own distributor so that the spools stay within our system. Okay, so we're gonna draw again, and let's see the new winner. The new winner is. Oh, Kenneth Singh. So Kenneth Singh is can only watch on YouTube, if I remember well. He cannot have Twitch at his work or something like this. So, but this is Twitch, so I'm not sure if he's still on Twitch. Yeah, he is. Kenneth Singh. Should I allow you this spool after the bad joke you made me? Should I do that or not? Should I allow you? Just kidding. Congratulations, Kenneth Singh. You are awesome. Even though you made a bad joke, you're still awesome. Bank contact in the chat. Reroll. Okay, congratulations, Kenneth Singh, on the spool. You know what to do. Again, thank you everyone for joining. Let me organize. Let me go to. If you guys want to continue the discussion and find out a little bit more some of the test result, hedgehog like this. Did it work? No, it didn't work. I think because I put the exclamation point instead of this. Zombie hedge hog hedge hog. Is that hard to spell? Okay, there you go. There you go. I got it. Half spool for the joke. Yeah, I'm gonna send a half spool. 500 gram spool. Okay, thank you again, everyone, for joining. I think I really love the Printbusters stream. I think it's some of the best. A lot of science, a lot of discussion, a lot of challenging what we think we already know, and then re-put that on the table. Looking at some video, for example, from Joseph Cruza, 3D Printing Joel, to see how they see things, and how do they explain things, how we can explain it in different ways. All of this, I love it. So thank you again. I will end with my beautiful Cali Dragon. Maybe these two beautiful, or maybe this also. Maybe the red one. I told you I'm going to show you. Too many. So let's go with the red one. A beautiful red silk, Brit red. So we're gonna stop with this one. Thank you. Or at least these two. These two. Okay, I stop here. These two. Okay, the teal and the Brit red. Okay, last thing. Okay, we're gonna stop with this one in 10 seconds, 9 seconds. Thank you everyone for joining. Don't forget, science is the most important, and stay awesome.